Hello, hello. It is Thursday, and I am back from being out of town. Araya on Raw here, coming to you live and for the love of dragons. Um, Thank you guys. I have had an incredible 10 days away in the ancient redwood forests of Northern California. Um, want to share about that and discuss what is it about those trees? What is it about the forest? What are the dragon energies there? What did I experience, and how am I seeing the tie-in to what's building for us with the solstice? So I can see some of you coming on there now. If you can give me a thumbs up if we've got sound now. Barkana, am I good on sound? Can you hear me? I've gotten a different connector. Alrighty, so I can see that a couple of you are there. I just want to get a heads up because this is actually take number 3. Thank you, Barkana. We are on take number 3, so 3's a charm. We are going to be golden here. Don't know what happened. I'm going to have to throw this one away. But wanted to share the energies. I shared one post during my trip of the dragon that I found on the coast, on the edge of one bay that I was at. Absolutely incredible to meet that one. Otherwise, I really didn't see a lot of dragons. Was sort of perplexed by it, thinking, well, I usually when I travel, there's either dragons in the sky or dragons around. I did see some in the skies, didn't take pictures of them, but the thing that finally hit me after several days in the forest, I was moving through and just enjoying the energy. And let me just talk about these trees real quick, because you need to, if you've never been in these ancient forests, to put yourself in them is... I hope everyone gets a chance to go, whether you're in maybe the Black Forest of Germany or some of the living organism that is the aspen forest in Colorado. That's like 300 square miles, I think, of one organism, because how aspen trees spread, they send roots out and then they sprout a tree from that and send them out. So it's one living organism all connected. It's pretty incredible. But there's 3 types of redwoods in the world. We've got the coastal redwoods, which is where I was. We've got the giant sequoias, which are down in central California around Calaveras and other parts of California. And then there's some in China that is called the dawn redwood, and they're a little bit smaller variety. So the giant sequoia get big, fat, really big diameter and circumference trees, maybe not quite as tall as the coastal redwoods. And these coastal redwoods... I think the tallest one is marked at 370 feet. They still get quite wide. Like the grandfather tree, I think, was 25 feet across diameter. The average trees, man, I'm on this love seat here, so just beyond frame here, beyond the edge of these pillows, if you go another foot in either direction, it's the end of this love seat. I would say that is the average, so 6 foot spread roughly, diameter on these trees. So you're walking in these things that are over a football field tall. So in American football, we have 100-yard fields. That's roughly 100 meters. If you were to go and run the length of that, and then another quarter beyond that, 25% beyond that, you hit the height of these trees. It's just incredible. It's mind-boggling, heart-boggling, because you're there and there's something that deeply touches you energetically about being amongst them. And there are people that move there. They go for a trip or they go for a short thing. And yay! And I have sound now. I had a bad connector on my microphone, so can't believe I never saw any of the messages come up. But for some reason, those weren't showing either. Anyway, so in amongst these trees, they're super tall, but they're also quite wide. And so when you're walking amongst me, you feel like you're in a fairyland where you're the size of a fairy or a gnome or one of the little people, right? Because they're so massive, and the ferns, all the undergrowth around you is either young trees, sprouts, or ferns that are 6 feet tall. It was a lot of the Jurassic Park was filmed there. If you are into Star Wars, the planet Endor was filmed in some of the redwoods in Northern California. So you see this massive growth, and it's just lush, and there's something deeply grounding and earthing about it. And that's what I started noticing was I wasn't seeing a lot of dragons around the landscape. Yeah, absolutely magical. Um, you can't get enough of them. You just want to go and sit and lean your back on one and communicate and feel that heart blessing coming from that tree being. And what I started noticing as I was walking through the forests, especially when I would get off trail that was a little distant from the normal shorter paths where there were a lot of people, I could start feeling the rumbling of the earth dragons moving, these massive earth dragons moving in, around, and under the entire landscape. And I didn't realize until coming back in a session earlier today when I was sharing with this person, it finally clicked in as to what that connection is. And when I was in Glastonbury, the energies there, the dragon ley lines and the energies there are still very open. The dragons were very present. It's like a portal where it's very easy to connect with those higher vibrational energies. It's still connected to Avalon and Middle Earth. And so there's this vibrancy, this aliveness, and this presence where the dragons of all varieties and lineages were available there. So what I realized in sharing about this and the information that was flowing as I was talking about this with my client, healing trees and everybody, these huge trees are just incredible. They're like Gog and Magog, but 3-4 times that size. Gog and Magog being in Glastonbury. But the earth dragons moving through that space, I realized that they are part of this ancient landscape that if you think about it, we look at these old trees, so giant tree, big tree, they're fantastic names. Of some of the others, I can't remember them all, but they're the biggest ones that are still standing tall and alive, that haven't fallen over yet. And once they fall over, they feed the forest. They become the breakdown hubris and nutrients for all the young trees that are growing up. And as they vacate that canopy with their massive canopy, all of a sudden there's all this light that shines and all those little ones get to grow up and find their place in the world, and they might get to become a giant. And I realized this has been going on for millennia, that these trees are 1,500 to 3,000 years old, that before them, so she's in the Olympic forest right now, awesome, waiting to meet dragons. Go out and feel the earth for the earth dragons. Get out of the car and feel into, because you're in these ancient forests, I think you're going to mostly feel the earth dragons underneath, because they're part of that portal system and they're holding that energetic. And I feel like they were part of the inspiration to protect these forests and not have them all logged, and stop those practices and get them protected before it got too far out of hand, so that they're now regenerating where some logging had been done, and now that we have a second generation forest going. But it's gone way back, way back, way back. And that those have been the portals to that energy, and why it's so rejuvenating, why it grounds us so deeply to be around those. It's not just about feeling the big tree. That's a part of it. And connecting with these tree beings, these ancient, ancient beings that have so much to share with us when we can, as I said, you just want to lean back and just connect heart to tree and just feel it. But the portal of energy that is holding that stabilizing space for us to find our central pillar. Because one of the gifts of the earth dragons is to constantly be helping us destabilize, to come off of the pillar that we've been in as our central pillar, that is not our true core pillar. This is the whole journey into self. This is the journey into who we be, is to come into that true pillar where our light body resides, where our dragon resides, and really come into alignment with that. Well, we start over here when we have our awakening, and we realize that, woof, I've got all these belief systems that are keeping me from my true self, from my true desires, from living in my heart. Wow, now I have all these set of paradigms that just revealed as I cleared those. And whoa, I'm still falling into these patterns based on all these people in my life. And the earth dragons help destabilize us from those. Black dragon, shadow work, all the dragons help clear things. But it's the earth dragons that come in and hold the space for us to stabilize into the new pillar. And so if you're in that space where you've done a lot of clearing and a lot of release work lately, I encourage you to call the earth dragons in to help you maintain and hold that new vibrational integrity in that new space. Even it might not be your central pillar yet, but you're inching closer and closer and closer to it. And you need to stabilize there so you don't slide back into patterns. And that's a beautiful gift of the earth dragons. In fact, I remembered on take one of this that I have a guided meditation with the earth dragons on the site that was actually specifically that, where the earth dragons came in and created this destabilization to throw you off and put you into a new pillar during that 20 to 30 minute meditation. So those are all the guided meditations are under the guided meditations tab on the website. You can go and find all kinds of things and use them more than once. If you have it, use it multiple times, because you're going to get something new out of it each time. So this is where I felt the gift. And like, why was the timing of this trip? I booked this in December. Not really sure what inspired me at the time. There's a real heart desire that came up, and I was like, oh, I want to go to the Redwoods next summer. Okay, well, my guides were obviously working with that, because the timing of it to be right now, to be pushing us as we really move into our crystalline grid work, and we're starting to move into diamond, some of us, that is much closer to our true full blueprint, our divine blueprint, and our core pillar. And so when we come into that, what a perfect opportunity that this solstice is bringing, because this solstice is going to be another big level shift forward in that. And here's the earth dragons bringing this energy into my field. Well, why is that important if you guys don't get to get there? Well, when I hold a stabilizing energy, when I hold a specific dragon expansion or expression in my field because of the work that I've gone and done, it holds for the whole sphere. All the spheres, whether it's my layer, my quantum flight, you guys for the Lava Dragons family, that everyone that touches that, I'm able to hold that so that you can feel that stabilizing, grounding energy. And you can probably feel it right now coming through, helping you pull into that so that you can find that new center and be ready for the shakeup that's coming with the solstice energy, because we're going to have another new alignment pushing us forward, and those earth dragons coming in, and that, I mean, it's not just earth dragons, it's these massive ones that are working with this ancient forest that are really, really working in our sphere right now. And it's interesting, because when you tune in, and you can feel almost like whales speaking through the ocean. It's reminding me for some reason of the voice of Dory. Dory, when she's speaking whale in Finding Nemo, when she's talking really slowly. It's that ancient movement, and I can feel the earth dragons moving so beautifully and slowly to set us into this space of deep, deep groundedness that will hold for us to move into a dramatically new pillar as we move into the solstice energies next week. And I don't know what day I'm going to do my live next week, but I am going to be doing my recording for the Dragon Thunder Summit next Wednesday on the solstice, on the 21st. And that's another divine alignment. That this coming in and this opportunity to be with the trees and the earth dragons, stabilizing as we move into that. And I know there's going to be a transmission from that. If you don't know about it yet, there are over 28 speakers now lined up that are connected to dragons in some way. He was going to have a one-day, afternoon, 6 or 7 hour event. It's now like 11 hours plus all these recorded ones, so that it's all available to access. It's an incredible gathering. So I will be posting in the group about it. There are some in the feed if you want to scroll down to before my trip. But it's free. It's all free, and it's all available information to go and listen and see where you connect and get new tidbits of stuff. I'm super excited about it and super excited to be included, and that the dragons are going big scale, that the dragon guides like myself that have been here doing this work have been called together. And this is Kevin Humphreys, who's had this big heart calling. He was told by his guides, pull them together, one big summit. We're going to bring them all together and start these gatherings, which is interesting because I had envisioned 5 years ago putting on events of some kind that were like 10,000, like in a stadium where there's 10,000, 15,000, 20,000 people there with dragon stuff and paraphernalia and all kinds of things for sale. But the point being to come together, to be activated all together simultaneously with a huge sphere of dragon energy. Well, what's interesting now is having sort of had that in my sphere, in my bubble somewhere, vision of it. And here's the first one where, all right, this guy's invited us to come together. And it's not a physical event in a stadium, but it is the first time that we're starting that kind of thing. And then one of my dragon hearts has felt this calling. Her life work has come together that has a piece that I'm involved in, that's going to be these bigger gatherings like this, where there are activations at the different chakras around Gaia chakras, and I'm going to be pulling in Tiamat chakras with that. That will be a project over the next 10 years potentially, and who knows where I'll be staying with that, because I do also feel so many activations like out in front of me, getting to Mount Fuji in person, getting to Indonesia, getting to I've got a list of places that are calling, that are mine to go and activate, literally by bringing my energetic presence and whatever I unlock in the ground, just because that's my dharmic purpose, one of the things I'm here for. But it's connecting and holding the space for communities like ours to come together with bigger communities and really spread that energy globally. So super excited about that. So that's what I got to experience over coming in with the dragons, the earth dragons, and tying it together. As I was talking about it, really the deeper meaning of this massive portal energy holding this ancient space and earth, and why that's important. Why is that in that specifically in North America? We've got the female air dragon up the East Coast, which is a birthing place of new thought. When the whole democratic field came in of how do you create a constitutional republic? How do you come into a new idea of freedom and a different way of living that became a model for the world, and has become the melting pot of the world, because it was supposed to be that anchor point. And so I feel like those ancient forests, the earth dragons holding that with two of these redwood species forests in that, interestingly, under the fire dragon's range, but where the earth dragons are really able to help ground that new thought. It's like a balancing energy to what's all along the East Coast. And I know there's great forests along the East Coast too, and that there's a lot of dragons running up through the Appalachian Mountains and that whole range, the Blue Ridge Mountains, just beautiful terrain. But that new thought energy, that female air dragon energy, being balanced by this beautiful grounded air dragon to hold it, because this is going to be the birthing place of the new energy, but it's all going to unfold through the continent of Africa when we move into the quantum field. So very interesting how all these pieces are coming together as we move into solstice next week. So looking forward to whatever live comes together for next week with you guys, and doing my piece with the Dragon Thunder Summit, and answering whatever questions you guys have come up. I encourage you to get out, even if it's just out touching the ground. Maybe you're not near forest, maybe you don't have trees. Call the earth dragons in. Go lay on the grass, call the earth dragons in, and have them take you in a meditation to those places, because they can connect you through the earth to those places, to those trees and those forests, and bring that grounding energy to you in a bigger way. They do ground you, but wow, you'll feel it when you feel these massive earth dragons that are under these forests. You'll just feel it come in, and hopefully you're feeling that come through. For me, it's very grounded, stabilized. I have been feeling like wearing my Labradorite pendant since I got home, just really adding to that groundedness energy to pull me back into it and hold that space around me. So wishing you guys a beautiful week. I will see you. So glad that the sound worked this time. Thanks for hanging in and coming on for lucky number 3. We will see you guys sometime next week. Have a beautiful rest of your week. Bye for now.